Welcome to another episode of Grow with Content. Here we discuss everything that's related to content, marketing, and SEO. We hope you take away a lot of the best practices that we are using as an agency here. And if you're a content creator, a marketer, or a business owner, we hope to help you in creating better content so that you can help your business grow and do better marketing. So let's get rolling. I've put together a couple of slides which I'll be explaining in this video. Please watch till the end because there are a lot of information. And we start with what is called the technical readability and structure requirements, which you as a content writer should be aware of. Let's remember that right now we are trying to write for two audiences. One is the humans and one is the machines. For humans, the old rules still remain, which is you write valuable content, you provide guidance as to how their problem gets solved, you offer information, and you offer value. Of course, today, humans also want something which is easily scannable. Everyone's busy, no one has the time to read too much. So let's remember that. When it comes to machines, they want a very structured format. They want something that they can parse and they can extract from your content and they can summarize and they can reuse. So let's remember all of that, and let's first discuss the technical and readability and structural changes that you need to follow while you write content. So LLMs interpret content by analyzing relationships between words and concepts. What that means is they're very highly sensitive to structures and they follow the structure to understand what your content is about. So formatting becomes very important, and where you place your content where is important. So the old way of writing content was like, you write an introduction and then you write a body and then you write a conclusion. It does not matter, everything would be chunked together in longer paragraphs. Today, here are the main rules I want you to follow. One, give the key information right at the top. Begin with very clear and direct answers. Similar to an inverted pyramid structure, which means that I'm sure all of you have gone to Wikipedia, and if you see Wikipedia, you get the answer right at the top. So front load your content. So if you're talking of maybe the top places to visit in India, answer them right at the top. Give a direct answer right at the top, front load it, and then go ahead and explain, right? Key insights, definitions, the main thesis should always be presented at the top. Provide concise answers immediately after question-based headings, and then you can elaborate it. LLMs always prefer responses. A little less than 50 words is all right for direct answers. So whenever you have a question-based headlines, make sure that you're not writing fluff. Give them the answer then and there, right? The next point is use clear and very logical heading structure, and this is extremely important. The format you follow is extremely important, right? So organize your content, and I think this was important even for when we were writing before, that write your H1 properly, write your H2s properly, write your H3s properly, and write your H4s properly. So when you read an article, it should flow very logically, and people should be very clear that this is my main section, this is a follow through from, this is a subheadline, and these are points which come under that subheadline. So structure and format your content really well, because this is extremely important for LLMs or AI search, right? Do not write dense blocks. Break it up, chunk it up, make it into small chunks, and try to answer your headlines as effectively and as if you're answering a question. Think of how you would answer a question and write like that, right? Write in extremely scannable formats. For example, this is also again something that we used as best practice before. We use bullet points, use numbered lists, tables, short paragraphs. And when I mean short paragraphs, don't go more than 2 or 3. That's what I would recommend. It improves AI readability, and also humans like short sentences. No one has the time to read a lot in one paragraph. So that's a pretty easy thing to follow. Whenever you're, try to remember that whenever you're writing, say maybe you have 4 paragraphs in your main body copy, each paragraph should contain the answer in itself. It should stand alone. So if there is a question in the headline, you're answering that question in the paragraph. And if, for example, it is being picked up as a snippet, it should answer, you should get the answer right in the paragraph below the headline, right? So if try and give a question-based headline, try to figure out how the concept can be, if someone is asking a question about that particular concept, how would you write it? Write in the same format. And every para should self-contain an idea. Don't use 3-4 paragraphs to explain one idea. Try and write it in one or 2 paragraphs maximum, but overall every section should have a self-contained idea. So everything is about questions and answers, so make sure that you try and use question-based headlines. Label sections very clearly. So I cannot stress this enough, but like if you're writing a conclusion, write that in conclusion. If you're talking about features, special features, product features, write that. Or maybe you're talking about the most common mistakes that people make, write that. So LLMs love labeling because it helps them understand or parse your content better. So again, use conversational language because it helps AI understand your content better. Another thing that we have been experimenting with, and I feel that this works really well and can improve the visibility of your content, is adding a small summary at the top of your content. Like, you've written an article, give a summary. Put a TLDR, too long, don't read. So you're basically telling AI and also your readers that if you don't want to read this huge paragraph or this whole article, here's the summary. So that also helps a lot in getting visibility of your content and getting picked up as snippets or being cited by LLM search, right? A well-written TLDR can also double up as a meta description or be used in AI previews. So that's why it's very important to give summaries. Now I move to the second slide, which is about a very old concept, which is about a quality rated guideline, which is EEAT, which means, so I'm going to first explain the concept of EEAT, which all of you probably know, but I'm just going to be reiterating that. And then we go into what should be done in your content to align with those EEAT guidelines. So as you all know, we have experience, expertise, authority, and trust. So the core concept is that when we talk of experience, it means that you have gained practical experience by doing something. It is not something maybe you have studied, but maybe you have used a product, maybe you have done a process, and then you've got an experience of doing something. So it's a practical know-how that you've gained. And why is it important for Google when you're writing something is because then you have the experience of that product better. So basically the information you're writing or the content you're writing is more authentic, is more relatable, and it also gives a certain unique insight because you've used it. So that's why experience matters. Very close to it is expertise. Sometimes people confuse expertise and experience. Expertise is something which means that you have studied for it. There is actually maybe a formal learning for it. And you have studied to gain that knowledge, and you are an expert to be talking about that particular field. Maybe a doctor is qualified to write about a medicine. A lawyer is authorized or the right person to talk about a legal advice that he's giving, or a financial expert is qualified to give a financial advice. So, these people have studied, there's a training gone behind it, and there's a depth of understanding, there's knowledge there. Right? So that is why it's important. And why is it important from Google's perspective is because it gives a comprehensive understanding to that content. It ensures that it is highly reliable, and it also, there's accuracy there. Like obviously if a doctor has written health content, you know that that person has studied knowledge, studied to become a doctor, and obviously he knows this field better than someone who has not and is writing it. So expertise becomes very important. That's why. The third is authoritativeness. Authoritativeness is, how well your website or how much authority does your website carry in the industry, or how much do you carry that weight? How do people perceive you in your industry? Do they trust you for your knowledge? Are you known are you recognized to be an expert in that field? So it could be a person, it could be your website as well. The primary goal here is industry leadership and influence as well. That is why authoritativeness is important. The last part is trustworthiness. How does Google understand? It's important that your website has the trustworthiness factor, meaning that it is giving clearly that who you are. It's secure. Your website is secure. It's important because it shows Google that it's everything is correct, everything is transparent, everything is trustworthy. It's ethical. People can trust it. So overall reliability and honesty and safety is there. That's the trustworthiness factor. So if I combine EEAT, which is something that we have been stressing on for even before while advising content marketers and content writers and SEOs that align with this. This is very important. Every algorithm update it has come up with, it keeps mentioning that for good content, your content needs to align with the EEAT parameters. It is a quality guideline. It is a quality rater for Google, and we need to follow it. Now, how would you do that? What are the recent updates that you would do to align with the EEAT guidelines? So let's talk about that. One is aim to own your topic deeply. So when we start talking about how to implement EEAT in your content, make sure that you are building complete ownership of that topic. So, you're talking comprehensively about it. You are covering that topic completely. There is a pillar page which is talking about it. There are cluster pages which are going from the pillar pages, and it is very well interlinked, and that is building your expertise factor. You're showing Google that I am qualified to talk about this. If you talk about the Justwords, we are content marketing experts, we are SEO experts, we are content writing experts, and that you will be able to get it. That reflects in our website because we talk about content marketing as a whole and how it is linked to content writing and SEO together. So there are several pillar pages, and there are blogs linking out from those main pillar pages. So it is giving Google the signal that yes, these guys are an expert to talk about this, right? So when we talk about it, it becomes trustworthy, right? So make sure that you're covering a topic comprehensively, and you're talking about something that you're already known expert for. Prioritize data-driven information. Use verified stats, expert insights, original data that AI can confidently quote, right? This also builds on your expertise factor. Make sure that you're linking to the right sources when you're citing data. Don't just say according to this. Make sure that you're telling AI or Google where have you taken that data from. Right? That establishes credibility of that data. It establishes that you're not just making up that data. That's important. So make sure the sources are quoted, and also bring in people who are experts to talk about that. Cite reputable sources to build trust. That we already talked about that. Link to reputable sources also, and link to academic reports, industry experts. Then of course, show your expertise that you have. This article has been written by someone who has the knowledge to speak about it. So always add author bios and show that I'm qualified to speak on this. Always try and show first-hand experience. For example, try and use content like over my experience in using this product or service, I have seen this. So that shows that yes, I have gained practical knowledge of using this product. I'm qualified to speak about it. I'm giving a unique insight. I'm sharing an experience, right? It's always better than someone who has not even experienced that product, right? It adds to your experience factor. Also, do not forget to regularly update your content. I suggest that this is one good practice, that whenever you're updating the content, mention it at the top that update it on this date. That as a reader, it tells me that okay, these guys have updated it. They know what has been happening, and it is very recent. And Google loves freshness, so that also helps you rank higher. And it also builds on the trustworthiness factor. A very important point if you're working with in the YMYL categories, which means law, if you're working in health, if you're working in finance, make sure that you are keeping a very balanced approach. Do not give judgments, do not give opinions, do not provide something that, you always make sure that you're giving multiple viewpoints of the same topic. Give a very balanced approach to that article, right? That also is very important. And this is somewhere that a lot of people go wrong. So this is, I'm stressing on this a lot. The third point is that, one important thing that we need to understand is search is shifting from the keyword centered search. Like, previously people would stuff keywords in it, and you would have a ranking advantage, right? Now it is moving from keyword search to entity first SEO search. What this means is that Google is not only seeing that, how many keywords are there, it's also seeing whether it is related to the concepts are related to what this website is about. So entity first SEO becomes extremely important, and semantic based writing is also becoming very important. What this means is, I'm just going to take an example. Maybe best pizzas is in New York, or maybe best pizzas. Maybe the old way would be just writing about the pizza and different things about the pizza. Try and incorporate what it means in the newer landscape, how you would write it. Give references to separate entities. So what is an entity is that it could be a person, it could be a concept, it could be a thing, but it is identified by Google. So it could be a place as well. So entities are already built in Google's knowledge graph. So how Google identifies what your topic is by understanding how many entities you have named or you have referred to in that content. And it sort of understands that pizza, when I'm talking about, say, thin crust pizza, I'm talking about the type of pizza. When I'm talking about mozzarella cheese, which has been used in the pizza, I am giving it a food entity. I'm mentioning a food entity. I'm saying that, this has been done by handmade sauce, tomato sauce. It's another food entity, right? So, and then I'm saying that, this pizza, one of the best pizzas that I'm mentioning in that article has been maybe cooked at 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that I'm also talking of a cooking methodology, which is also a contextual entity, right? So I don't want to confuse you a lot, but what try and give as many, don't keep it vague, but try and give concepts, try and give, mention names, mention places which are relevant to that topic. So if I'm writing about pizzas, I would probably put user testimonials. I would probably talk about the 5 different kinds, the New York style pizza, the Chicago style of pizza, maybe, the different kinds of pizzas which are there across, which helps Google understand that, okay, this article is about the different kinds of pizzas, and it would rank it better than a normal best pizza article, because I'm mentioning the various entities there, right? And also what it means is, like, these are also semantically related in the sense that Google is trying to understand in a sentence how one word and the second word and the third word is helping explain the whole concept. It's trying to understand what this whole line is about, and it's trying to understand how maybe an Amazon company is different from an Amazon jungle, probably, right? So these are the clues it looks for in separating whether your question is about Apple, the company, or Apple, the fruit apple. How will it understand? This is what semantics is about. So the more your language is related, it is helping Google understand what your article is about. The more you're giving it indications, or you're dropping hints that, okay, this is what I'm talking about, and the more it's understanding your article better. So it helps Google and the LLMs understand the context better behind an article, and the more you add semantically related concepts, the more you're covering an article and a topic better. So if I have to explain this very simply, try to use related concepts in whatever you're writing about. Google today is no longer only seeing how many keywords you're using, how many times you're using that keyword. Google is trying to see how much you're serving the user intent, which is behind that one word. So if I'm using maybe best pizza article, I'm going to be talking about the location, I'm going to be talking about the variety, I'm going to be talking about the ingredients, I'm going to be talking about who is saying this is good. So you're creating a whole connection, and that's the connection that Google wants to see, right? So that is what's going to matter in the coming days rather than just keywords, right? So use semantically related keywords when you're, for SEOs, whenever you're searching, whenever you're finding a topic, try and find topics which are related to that topic, to the main topic, right? It might not be the exact same meaning, but try and, if you're writing a article about why yoga is good for you, you talk about how, the benefits of yoga, you talk about the various kinds of yoga, how it originated, where are the places it's, the places which are known for yoga, and the various practitioners maybe. So include as many entities as possible. Do not write generic stuff. Do not write fluff. Do not write a simple generic article. It won't cut it anymore. The more depth you build in an article, the more history that you build in an article, the better you have chances of being picked up by LLM search and by Google AI reviews, and even in traditional Google ranking system, right? Another very important thing is when we talk of establishing topical authority, which means that I have the authority I have built that authority about this particular topic or about this particular concept. Interlinking is extremely important, and maybe sometimes writers don't do it, but marketers do, and the SEO teams do. Make sure that you're interlinking maybe a cluster page to the main page, because it shows how semantically related one smaller article is to the main article, or maybe one topic, how is it related to the main topic. So maybe if I'm writing an article about a New York style pizza, or a particular pose about a particular yoga asana pose, I would link it to probably a pillar page which has all the 12 poses mentioned out there. So make sure that you are interlinking. Also gives signals to Google saying that this topic is related to this topic, and this website has covered all of it, right? So it does help establish the entities. Through interlinking helps establish entities as well. So this helps in search engines and AI understand your article better as well. Our next point is about answer engine optimization. So this is something probably a newer concept in how we write content, because with LLM search, with the rise of AI search and the LLM tools giving answers, everything is about questions and answers, right? So you probably have heard this before, but it's become extremely important to write for questions and answers. See how you can change the concept into questions and answers more, and structure your content to answer common questions, right? Always figure out what are the question-based, whether you could write a subhead as a question-based subhead, right? And whenever you have, I think I already covered this point, but I'm reiterating this again, that whenever you have a question-based subhead, make sure that you're answering it in the first 2 lines of your next paragraph, of the paragraph which is coming right after the heading. So also make sure that to find the questions that you will talk about in your article, make sure that you are finding the long tail keywords, find out the questions, and there are several tools to do that. You can obviously go to Google itself. The autocomplete also gives you certain long tail keywords. People also ask, Google's feature is excellent in helping you get questions more. There are tools, of course, like, also Answer the Public. You could also ask ChatGPT and Google to give you the long tail keywords as well. But make sure that you're getting enough long tail keywords and enough questions to answer in your content. Do not just write a content which is not, where there are no answers, because you're sort of leaving visibility on the table then, right? So let's keep that as a newer rule to keep in mind while we are writing content. Another very important thing is understand how people are searching nowadays. What are you doing? You are writing a question, and you're no longer writing 2 words. You're writing a long frame questions, which is also why I was saying that long tail keywords are becoming important. Questions are important. Why are they important? Because you're talking more in conversational language. Make sure you're writing your content also in conversational language, right? Do not write extremely formal. Write as if you would talk. And this is something that I've been stressing for a long time, even before AI, because if you write the way you talk, it becomes very easy to read and understand, right? Of course, not colloquial, but then nowadays it's very important that we write in conversational, natural language, which is very easy for AI to pick up, right? When you write, so here's a small tip. When you write your content, see what are the questions you can answer in that content. Right? Remember that. So the next slide is about formats, which LLM platforms really love. Okay, the kind of formats that you can always pick on is best of articles. Google is also loving them. LLMs love them anyway. There's a lot of so you have to remember that AI search platforms extract information and they repurpose that information, right? So best of articles give them a lot of information. Always try and cover as much as possible in the information, and do not forget to make small chunks of information. So best of, maybe I'm writing best content marketing agencies, I'm talking about maybe 10 companies, I'm keeping small chunks of information there. So these chunks are far more easier for AI to parse rather than one long paragraph, right? So best of articles are great. Google loves them, all search engines love them, AI loves them. Comparison articles and tables, whatever you're writing on, if you could add a comparison article or comparison table, that gets very easily picked up as a snippet, or maybe by LLMs as well. So it's great for mid-funnel, especially. So try and see if you could add a table anywhere for the concept that you've already written or talked about, right? Of course, we talked about Q&A style content that's already given. Add your own opinions in articles. Try and add something authentic in the article format that you've written. Another thing that we used to do maybe in the newspapers do it, and something that we have not been doing, but write a clear caption when you have a picture, maybe, or maybe you have given a banner picture and you've skipped on writing the caption for it. Don't do it. Write something, write the caption for that picture, and also reference it in the content that you've written. So as referenced in the picture above, you can see that this is this. Okay, so if you've put a graph or you've put a data something, explain that, add a short sort of summary to it, right? That also helps. Again, in the picture, use descriptive formats like, maybe it's a wooden colored tea cupboard. So the more descriptive, the better it is for Google to understand, the AI to understand. So these are formats that you could be using. Try and see what formats can be used. I think the last point that I would like to say and talk about is write with clarity. Solve pain points of the users. That's what great content is. Try to understand what you've written. Have you solved problems of your users? Have you answered the questions properly? Why they are reading that in the first place? If you are a user, would you read that article? Would you understand what that article is about? Are you taking away something from that article? This is something that defines good quality content. It has defined good quality content and will always define good quality content, irrespective of which age you're writing for. But understanding the user intent is becoming super important nowadays. And if you understand the user intent, that why the person would read your article, you would also understand what do you put in that content. You would try and you would understand, okay, this is what I need to put in my H2s. And these are the main concepts that I need to talk about to help my user understand, or this is how I can solve the pain point of my user, right? So understand the user intent. Does he want to know the price of something? Does he want to understand the concept more? Which stage is he in the funnel? Understand that, because the user intent will change based on which part of the funnel he is in, right? Of course, at the top of the funnel, Google and AI overviews and is answering most of the questions. But if he's in the middle of the funnel and he's wanting to know something about maybe why you're better, give him that answer, right? Don't make him wait. So cut the bloat in any content. Wherever you see the bloat, be absolutely, very strict about it. No fluff, no bloat. Make it short. you do not, while I wouldn't say that it is not important to write a long article to maybe cover extensively something that you want to explain, but if it's not necessary, it can be finished in 500 words, do that. Make sure that you're answering the question, make sure that you're writing in small paragraphs, front loading the answers, giving the questions, answering those questions very quickly, formatting it correctly, and chunking the whole piece of content into multiple sections, smaller sections, right? So that's it. That's all about great content and how content should be written in the modern AI ecosystem. I hope this was helpful, and make sure to come back to me if you have any more questions. I will be happy to answer those. See you again in the next episode of Grow with Content. Thank you so much.